Hello everyone, Counsel AAA here, Abdallah Ali Al-Balawi, and this is part 2 of a 4-part series where I discuss how I went to study abroad and came back to Canada and became a lawyer. How I went to study law school abroad and came back to Canada and started up, I would consider a successful law practice. And in my first part, I discussed about what are the things you have to consider for you to do what I did and take the route that I did to become a lawyer. And I would implore you to go and watch that first part for you to look at all those and learn about all those considerations that you need to consider before you actually, choose to study abroad and become a lawyer, right? So the second part, I'm going to be talking about what are the processes I took to actually apply and study in the United Kingdom in England. So I had studied a 4-year degree in Canada in economics and political science. And then I was interested to study law because, I've always been interested in politics, etc., etc. So I said, you know what? Okay, I want to go see what are the options in the UK and abroad because, I wanted to experience something new, a different culture. I wanted to start a new life, etc., etc. So I saw that the United Kingdom offered a 2-year degree for anyone who has studied a 4-year degree in Canada. So I chose that route and I applied over there. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that in Canada and in the United States, you need to take the LSAT, LSAT to go into law school. While in the UK, a lot of schools don't require any entry exam. There are some schools like Oxford, Cambridge, the really big schools that do require something called an LNAT, L-N-A-T. But a lot of schools, you just need to have really decent amount of marks, at least, a 3.5 GPA out of 4 for you to get into a law school in the UK. There's really good schools like where I went, University of Birmingham, where you can get in with a 3.5 GPA out of a 4, right? As long as you have a good GPA and you're really interested in becoming a lawyer, you can get into law school in the UK on a 2-year LLB for graduates program. There are some people in Canada who go to UK and study law right after high school, and that one is a 3-year degree, not a 2-year degree. So if you have, if law is something you really want to do, right away, even while you're in high school, I want to be a lawyer for sure, then apply in the UK and you can study law right out of high school. Now, what I would recommend for you is to, before you apply, is to actually research what type of school you want to go to. Because if you want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, these big schools, you have to do the LNAT. I forgot what it stands for, but the LNAT. You have to do that exam. It's similar to the LSAT to get into Oxford and Cambridge. So if those are the schools you want to go to, you're going to have to, and you also got to make sure you have a really high GPA to be able to get into a school like that. If you are willing to go to something called, in the UK, called the red brick universities, which I would consider kind of like the second tier, but there's Cambridge, Oxford, and then you have kind of like the red brick universities. Again, really amazing schools, University of Birmingham, Bristol, University of Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, University of Sheffield. These are really, really amazing schools that have great law schools. And you can go into those schools, and a lot of those schools, they don't even require an LNAT. And as long as you have a 3.5 GPA out of 4, you should be okay. And then you have some schools which are kind of like third-tier law schools or universities in the UK. There's a lot of them that you can go to. A lot of people, they go to Leicester. Now, it's not considered a red brick university, but a lot of Canadians go to the University of Leicester. So that's also a good school that you can go to. If you, for example, you don't want to go to a Cambridge or one of the mid-tier schools, you can go to University of Leicester. They take a lot of Canadians over there as well, okay? Leicester, Leicester. You can contact me if you want to know more, or, put some questions down below and I can answer them. Now, after you've found the schools that you want to go to, choose about 5 schools, have your options, your high tier, mid tier, low tier, whatever it is, and then at that point, you look at what the requirements are to apply to any of all those schools. And now you start preparing your application, right? In the UK, they use something called a UCAS system, UCAS, and you use that UCAS, if you Google that, you will actually be able to, you will be directed to a website where you can apply for all the law schools that you want to, all in one place. So when you go to the UCAS, website, they will tell you what you need to upload. And then what you do is you upload those documents, whether it's your transcript or some sort of personal letter that you write and referrals, etc. References. And then once you've submitted all that, all the law schools you've applied for looks at all that information, and then they assess whether they'll accept you or not, right? Now, alternatively to what you might pay for when you are in Canada for law school, in the UK it's quite cheap to apply. It's about $35, while in Canada it's quite expensive to apply for law schools. But in the UK it's quite cheap. It's about $35, give or take, around there, to apply to about 5 schools, which is really cheap. Once you've applied and you get accepted, and then you accept your acceptance, then at that point, if you're doing the 2-year program, which I did, right? In your first year, first of all, you're probably very excited, you're going to be living abroad, you're going to be starting a new life. So be prepared to, you might have to come back, because a lot of people that I studied with, we had an interest to stay in the UK, but it's really difficult to immigrate to the UK. So just know that you might have to come back to Canada. But some people wanted to come back to Canada, some people wanted to stay in the UK. Whatever the case is, just prepare yourself for whatever scenario, right? You can also decide whether you want to stay on residence or not in your first year. I highly recommend for you to stay on residence your first year. There are so many things that you learn and so many people you meet when you stay on residence. It's a new country, you don't know the place. It's not like you're in Canada. So it's really good to be in a community of people that you can meet very easily and make new friends very easily, etc. So I would recommend for you to stay on residence in your first year. Make sure you enjoy the community around you. Don't just stay inside and study. Go out, explore the cities, that you're in, explore the UK. A really amazing thing is, while you're in the UK, it's very cheap to fly. You can fly to different countries like Spain, Portugal, whatever the case is, Morocco, for 10 to 20 pounds. It's really cheap to fly when you're in that country. So, when you're there, explore the place, explore the UK. There are trains everywhere in the UK. It's really easy to move around and travel, and, transportation is quite cheap. So fly to different countries, enjoy your time. It's an experience that you might not experience ever again in your life, and you want to take that opportunity. Another thing is, in your first year, a lot of the courses you'll take are, standard courses that everybody has to take, like contract law, tort law, criminal law, and public law. So public law is about government, etc. Tort is more like, injury. When you see personal injury lawyers, etc., that's what tort law is. Criminal, obviously, is criminal law. And contract law, it talks about, how contract formation, etc., those type of things. So those are usually the 4 subjects that you study in your first year in most law schools. I think even in Canada, it sounds about similar thing, right? Those are kind of like the basics of law, right? Those 4 areas. So a lot of people, they study those areas in their first year of law school, right? One big difference is, in the UK, exams are open book, right? Sorry, the exams are not open book. They're not open book. While in Canada, they are open book. Exams are not open book. You have to memorize. A lot of your, whatever you're gonna write in your exam, you have to memorize it. So I remember I used to make songs of all of the cases that I need to remember in my exams, right? So exams are not open book. So you have to be ready to write your exams from your memory, right? So that's one big difference between Canada and the UK. And also understand that it's really important that you get experience after your first and second year, or whatever the case is, right? For me, I had my first year and second year, so I made sure in my first year, in the summer, I had some experience. I got some experience in Canada, right? But if you want to stay in the UK and maybe you get a job in the UK of some sort, you can also do that as well. But it's really important that you get some sort of legal experience after your first year, because that is what's going to help you get a job, get get a job when you're done law school, right? When you get that experience, maybe you continue to work there after you're done school, etc., etc. So it's really important for you to set yourself up for a job while you are already in law school, right? So that when you come out, you already have the connections and or the places to go to look for a job. Or if you want to set up your own practice like I did, it's still important to get that experience in between your years, because that's going to give you the experience you need to actually start up your practice. So really important to get that experience. So, I would say, in your second year, the courses that you study in the UK are trust and equity, which are formation of a trust is kind of like, I'm holding money for someone. How do I manage that money? That's what basically trust is. You learn about land and property law, so, real estate, that type of thing. You learn about European law. That might have changed because, UK is not part of the European Union anymore, but European law is still really important in the UK. So as of now, 2021, I'm not sure if they teach it anymore, but when I was in school, they taught that. And then you have a choice of studying things like corporate law, advocacy, which is basically advocacy is where they teach you how to be a barrister in court, arguing, right? Because there's a difference. There's some lawyers who just work in the office, drafting contracts, etc., negotiating deals. And then there's some lawyers who go to court, like criminal lawyers or litigation lawyers, litigate cases, etc. So you can choose to take a choice of whatever you want, corporate law, maybe advocacy, whatever the case is. That happens in your second year, right? And while you are in school, in your second year, I would really implore you to look for a job while you are in school. Do not wait until you are done, because when you come out, it will get difficult. So make sure that you're looking for something while you're in school, or prepare yourself to not have a job when you're done school, and that you have to have some sort of plan to be able to maintain your finances, etc. So that's kind of like what happens when you go study in the UK. So if you want to know more, again, you can ask questions down below, or you can reach out to me on all of my pages, Counsel AAA on Instagram, Twitter, and also my website, abdallahalea.com. You can find some information on there about me, and you can contact me and we can discuss. All right, well, that's part 2, and I hope you join me for part 3 and 4. Thank you. I want to thank you for watching my videos, watching my content. I really appreciate you being part of this community. I really want to make people believe that if you believe, you can achieve. If you like my content, please subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and you can visit me on my other platforms under Counsel AAA. So thank you so much, and always remember, be kind to yourself. Thank you.